Hello and welcome to another exciting episode from Ken's Training. Today the training is going to be on how to seal a water fountain or a water feature, however you want to call it, that's leaking water out of the fountain and then going to an area that it's not supposed to go to. Now behind me is a pretty large fountain it's off right now, so you can't quite see it, but normally the water will drip down the bowl right there, and it will come down this walkway here, down this trough system here, down to the end over there, and then it will cascade down to where there's a vault and a grate and then a vault and so forth, and then that's where it collects and then goes and gets pumped back here and recirculates itself. Now here's a perfect example of what it is that's happening with this particular fountain. There's a crack in the concrete that is going the entire thickness of the wall right here. Now you can see how the water over time just penetrates its way through the crack and then ultimately comes down and creates this type of a situation. Another situation that we're coming across is over here at what is called an expansion joint. This is where two pieces of concrete come together. They're at different heights and so forth, and they use a caulking or that type of product there to make up that joint. Well, through movement and so forth, this joint also leaks, although it doesn't look that bad here. Bring the camera in for a close-up here on the inside. Now you can see right here how this is all completely deteriorated to the point where that's an open crack right now, and these areas we actually already cleaned and sealed with a product which actually etches the concrete and so forth. Then we're going to seal this up, and I'll show you how I'm going to seal that up when I get to it, and then we're going to paint this with a special cement paint called DRYLOK, and then that will completely take care of this situation. Let me show you a can of the etching solution. Okay, here's the can of etch solution called DRYLOK Etch, which basically is just supposed to etch the concrete. It is kind of expensive. I think I only bought 2 bottles of this stuff, which only goes with 1 gallon, one of these to 1 gallon of water. I'm going to probably get some muriatic acid for the remainder of the stuff. Muriatic acid is a little bit stronger and it's even cheaper, so it's not a bad way to go. One last thing I want to show you. Let me get behind the camera. I'm going to take the camera off the cradle here, and I just want to show you exactly what it is that's happening. Now, here you can see how clean this section is here. We've cleaned this one, and we cleaned this trough over here. Now this trough over here that we're coming to, the third one down, is basically just been washed with the hose. We haven't brushed it or etched it yet. You can just see the difference from how light colored that is. This hasn't been painted, it's just cleaned with that etching solution, compared to this one right here, which still has a dark color going towards it. And that's our water pump there, just to get the stuff out. And then here you can see how dirty it is, that it is collected all down in here. This last basin over here, we have a lot of cleaning to do, because there is a lot of tree droppings that we're going to have to clean out. So this is all going to be cleaned out 100%, and then all the edges that go around here, that go from here all the way over to here and all that, that's all going to be completely clean, so that way we can water seal up any potential leak sources, because we want to keep the water inside this fountain, not leak out at all. That's it for now. Over and out. Alright, I wanted to give you an update on where we are at the next stage of the fountain. So the fountain's been completely empty. This here is the next day following, and what we're doing is we're going around to all the expansion joints like this here and taking a utility knife and pulling out all of the old caulking that's in here, and we're going to, before we go ahead and waterproof that, we're going to rough that up with some 80 grit sandpaper. And then we also did this joint right over here. That joint has been done. And then what we're doing is we're just doing an inspection all the way around the fountain. We're looking for any cracks that may be potential leaks or anything like that. So very meticulously, we're just going through the whole fountain. Now here you see that there would be a water trough where it would come down to a lower level. Then this expansion joint here, this appears to be already waterproofed, so I left this material in, but there was a caulking they had over this. I pulled that off, and I pulled off all the caulking that was here on top. I'm going to put some foam backer in there and recaulk that so it'll look pretty. And then there was a crack here. I just kind of ground that down. I still of course need to waterproof this in, which I will do, and then we'll put the DRYLOK paint over. Here's a foam backer rod that stayed in here on this side. I'll probably get another backer rod, since I'm going to have to buy a new backer rod for this anyways. I'm also going to pull off the caulking that's here, because this is where the customer is seeing, and I want all the caulking to look brand new. So anyways, as we go up the fountain, again, we're just doing an inspection. You can see the next joint here. Okay, so this one, the top still needs to be removed here, and then some of it's been removed here. You can see here, this one had no foam backer or anything. There's a bunch of ants. That's what all this stuff is. But and then all this is got to be cleaned out a little bit better. Now up here is a joint that we haven't even touched yet. This is to give you some contrast. Actually, this one's been worked on as well. Let me go to the next one up. Alright, so here's what the joints look like when we're starting out. They just look like this here. You can see that there's a big ant trail here. The fountain is down right now, but anyways, you can see it's all, peeling back. This is where it is all going to get ripped out, and this crack that's right here at this joint, we're going to grind that down a little bit so that we can put some waterproofer in there so that it will be really, really clean. Same thing over here on this side. And then we're just going to continue on and do the whole fountain that way. Okay, we're back at the pool repairs. The pool has been emptied. We've went around with the grinder to grind out joints and stuff like that. We removed the caulking. There's actually a little bit of caulking I still have to remove right here. Let me show you what the process is, just so that you can see what that was about. Basically, just taking a utility knife and scoring down, scoring up. We're going to replace all this caulking. And I should be wearing my eye protection just in case a little bit comes up and hits me in the eye. But basically, all I'm doing is taking that out and then just cleaning up this. I'm going to put new caulking here, so I'm just trying to take out the old caulking. This is more for cosmetics. This is on the outside of the fountain, but basically this here's the process. We did this at all the joints that the customer can see as they walk by. So everything the customer can see should all be pretty new when we get done. So that's the process there. And then this is how thick that caulking is that comes out of there. I still have to buy that caulking. That's going to be a Sika 1A. Now, for the joints where we did remove the caulking on the inside, here you can see this is like super deep here. So basically I just bought some foam backer rod, and this is just actually pipe insulation. I couldn't find the rod, and I'm just going to fill this in on the top. So that way I've got some type of a backer. And I'm just pushing that down with my putty knife. That way we don't have to fill in with too much caulking. That'll just sandwich in there. And they'll give me something attached to. On the areas that are missing the caulking. Alright, it's almost done. I want to make sure it's deep enough that I can still attach the caulking to, but not too deep. I want about a half of an inch of caulking after everything is said and done. So that's pretty good there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean the joints that I want to attach the first layer of the waterproofing. The first layer of the waterproofing is going to be this product here, which is Leak Master, and comes in tubes that pretty much look like this. And you buy these at pool supply stores for about $10 a tube. This will be the first tube that I use. So the first thing I'm going to do is where I want to apply the Leak Master putty, I'm just going to clean that joint up really well. And this will be the first layer of waterproofing. This is an epoxy. And I need to put it in this section of the fountain. I need to put some along here and along here, and I'll put a little bit here on the top and on the sides here as well. First I'm going to clean it up though. You don't want any dust or anything like that. I got this brush is a little bit stiffer. So I'll actually put some waterproofing even here on the top. So I'll be waterproofed all the way down here. I'm not so much cared about it here on the sides, but on the tops in the section where the water is, for sure. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just making sure there's no dust. And it's going to attach really well. Okay, there we go. This is my first time working with this piece of putty. So there's a cap here on the end. I'm going to pull that off. Okay, so what you've got is you've got a resin on the outside which is green. You have a hardener on the inside which is a gray color. Now, I don't know how fast this is going to set up on me. So what I'll do is I'm just going to cut, that much to begin with, so I can get a feel for this. I'm going to mix this up, and my goal is to continue mixing until I have a uniform color inside of this putty. Pretty much the green is all going away and it's all becoming a kind of a gray mixture. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, and it's got a pretty good smell to it as well. Alright, so I'm just going to start here in the back. And I'm I'm just going to fill that in the areas where there was cracks and stuff like that. I'm going to put the putty in there. Try to blend that in as best I can. Push that in. Again, this is just the first layer. I'm still going to waterproof this two more layers of material. One will be pond shield, and then the other one will be DRYLOK. Yeah, when we're also in these expansion joints, we're also going to put in a Sika 1A waterproofer as well.
Where's your mask? Can't work without your mask.
I know. So just working this in. Trying to feather that out wherever there's a potential leak. Kind of hard to work with this product. It is kind of a hard product. It's sticking to my glove and then it's coming out. I'm going to try to work with it without the glove on and see if it'll stick better. See if I can form it better without it coming back. The glove seems to be taking it back. Counterproductive. So basically that's it though. All I'm going to do is just work this into these joints, and this will be the first layer of the waterproofing project, and I'll do this for a little while and we'll report back in a little while. Thank you. Okay, we're back at our pond project, for the fountain project rather, and we've already put this product here, which is LeakMaster Pool Repair Putty, in the large expansion joints. So that was the first application of waterproofing that we applied. Now, for the second application of waterproofing, we went through and sprayed with a garden hose and cleaned all the surfaces, dried it using a leaf blower and a shop vac and a mop to get it all super dry. And it's a very sunny day right now, so the concrete is drying rather quickly, which is good. Now, for the next application of waterproofing, what we're going to do is we're going to put pond shield down. And we're going to put pond shield down in all of the cracks and crevices. You could use this to cover the entire interior surface, but it's rather pricey. These two small containers here was $80, sold at the Home Depot. It's a two-part epoxy mixture, and we're going to be mixing this up according to the rough surface instruction, and there's mixing instructions that come with the paperwork. So that's going to be the next thing that we do. Okay, now what you can see here is you can see where I put the LeakMaster right down into these large expansion joints here. So that was the first coating that was applied right there. Now what we're going to do is over that we're going to put the pond shield there, and we're going to put the pond shield over where a horizontal meets a vertical surface, so all in that about 3 inches to 4 inches out, all the way across the entire fountain. That's the next step that we're on. We've already washed this interior out just now, dried it, and it is ready for the two-part epoxy. So I just wanted to show you the next step that we were on. Okay, we've mixed up our two-part epoxy, and I've got some here and I've got some in a small roller container. So I want to show you for this is the next part of the waterproofing project here. So now what I want to do is I want to waterproof over the leak master joint. So this is extra insurance for me to guarantee that indeed we're going to have a leak tight joint here. That's my goal, is to 100% guarantee that. So I'm putting down another layer of waterproofing, and that's what this is. So this is just after we mixed it up, and we're going to put that down right over the leak master in these expansion joints. And I'm not trying to go over, because I don't want to go over the joint. I want to try to keep this contained within the joint and just completely waterproof this out. Now once I get done here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do all of the portions that go from a vertical to a horizontal, because that would be another area of a potential leak source. So all around the entire fountain there. But I just wanted to show you how I was starting out with that. All right, that's it. All right, we've put the first coat on of the pond shield. It started to really thicken up. We only mixed up 50%, and even that was a little bit too much. And we weren't able to use the roller in the corners right here. We had to use the brush. We were able to use the roller when it came to the cracks that you see right there. So we used the roller in those types of areas, and then we used the brush and brushed everything else out. So that's how everything was taken. By the time we went around just this one section, the epoxy got so hard that we couldn't use it anymore. So even though we had enough material to do the second section, it dried out on us and we didn't get to it. So that's it for now. Okay, here is the second coat of epoxy, and I'm just going to zoom in on that so you can see how that looks. Really nice. That looks like a true waterproofing product with a really nice solid bond, and it looks like it's going to seal that up very nicely. When you use only one coat, you can kind of see here what it looks like. It's looks kind of like it's bleeding through, but so that's just one coat that you're looking at there. But when you come over to the second coat, which over here on this side of the fountain has been applied with two coats, you can see that that fills in and really bonds really nicely. So that's really nice. So we've completed the section of the fountain here, all of this material here and all in there with two coats. I'll show you a crack so you can see how that came out. See, that's sealed up there really good. So this epoxy pond shield product does appear to be doing a really good job, and it certainly you get a feeling that it's going to hold up well. So this is where we're at right there. We got just that far around this joint right here. I got to do another coat over this right here, but this joint here was done as well. And that's where we're at right now. We still have a ways to go. I had to order some more material, and that's it for now. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to give you a recap on the fountain. We've had some rainy days that's been slowing us down. I finally got the last coat of epoxy down on the expansion joints. Now you see where the fountain goes from a transition from the upper level down to the lower. Each one of these here is an expansion joint. And I've got a close-up of one that I'm on right here. Now, if the tan color that you're seeing right there, that's the two-part epoxy of the pond shield that I put together. Now you'll see as you look at that joint in great detail that that is pretty much a waterproof joint. Looks like that ran a little bit. I'll run a paintbrush over that right now. Let me do that real quick. Alright, so there's that joint. I just touched that up again. and you'll see that all the joints pretty much look just like this one, where they're all waterproofed. We did have a major problem that was right here, in which when we opened this and cleaned it all up, there was a huge gap in between this step here and this level base. I put the leak master down first to build up, put a base in there, and then put the pond shield 2-part epoxy on, which is at the brown. Now if you look at that joint, you'll notice that there is absolutely no voids. That is 100% waterproof. So that's the stage that we're at right now. But all the joints are like that. We went over all the steps and gave extra epoxy here at the radiuses wherever there was a 90-degree turn, so that way, because those receive a lot of wear and tear from the water. Now what else? The next stage of the game is going to be to put some primer over these expansion joints, so we can put the Sikaflex 1A down for the caulking. So that's going to be done after tomorrow, because we're still wet with a little bit of epoxy. So we're going to let that cure overnight, and that's the next step. Here's another joint that you see right here. Now the starting point that we started from looked very much like this side here, where all you have in there is just some plastic. So what we did is we put the leak master stuff in there, built that up a little bit, and then put the pond shield over that. And if you look at that joint now, you'll see, I'm going to give you a zoom in there, how nice and waterproof that joint is. There's no water that is going to get through that. It's almost like a glass-like finish that you have. Let me give you a different perspective from this angle over here. Here is that joint, looking at it from this angle over here. That was opened up previously, and now it's very nicely waterproofed. So just that product alone is going to waterproof it. But we're still going to put the Sikaflex on, and then we're going to paint the whole fountain with DRYLOK. But I just wanted to show you that stage. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, right now the stage of the fountain that we are at is all of the epoxy is completed. The next step of this process is to put on Sikaflex primer 429. It goes on clear, and we applied it about 2-3 hours ago. And the directions here state that you have to apply the caulking or the sealant within greater than 1 hour but less than 8 hours. So I'm about 3 hours into this, so I'm going to put the sealant on now. The sealant is Sikaflex 1A construction sealant, and that will be the caulking that is going to go over here and then down up to about that point there. Alright, so I'm going to do that right now, and I'll show you that. Okay, here we go with the Sikaflex 1A caulking, and let's see what this is all, how this is going to work. It's coming out as a gray. Basically what I'll do is I'll show you how I do this one joint, and then once I finish this first joint here, the other joints are going to be pretty much the same way. Alright, so let me get the pressure off the gun. Now I'll just try to smooth that out with my finger. I think I went a little bit too heavy here. certainly goes on really thick. It looks like a nice waterproofer in and of itself. I'm making sure that I cover everything good so that if for some reason my epoxy coating did not waterproof the joint, that this Sikaflex 1A would waterproof. So I'm making sure that I've got that covered as a backup waterproofing here to the pond shield epoxy, which was put down first. Alright, now this feels like a oil-based epoxy. If this was a water-based epoxy, what I would normally do is I'd take some water. Hold on. I've got some water here. I'm just going to see if it smooths out on the back side. Now it doesn't really work well because it's a oil-based epoxy, so the best bet is just to smooth it out with your finger as best you can. So I think that's going to be the final right there. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that as best as possible. Alright. Alright, so let me zoom in here. We'll start up here. Now there's your joint, and oh, there's a little bit of a hole right there. I'm going to fill that in because I don't want any voids. Actually, I didn't see that earlier. It's hard to get it smooth the way that I like to do it. I'm having difficulty doing that. Okay. Alright, so there's that joint following through, and then the little bit of excess I put down there, that's all going to be painted over. So basically I'm just going to continue and follow through all the other joints. This joint right here is going to be the next joint, so I'm going to shut the camera off for now, and then I'll go ahead and do that joint. Alright, basically here's that joint now completely sealed. Now the top section I got really good. You can see that right there. On the side section that you see here, the groove was so deep I'm going to have to do this one in 2 applications. So that's what you're seeing here is the first application, and then the second application will go on after this cures. So that's that joint. Now I've got one other thing that I can show you. I'm going to just take the camera off of its holster. Alright, so now, and then I just went around this side of the fountain over here and got that section too. I'm going to put DRYLOK on over here to paint everything afterwards, so that gray will be covered on this side. but I put down some additional caulking on that side. So that's what it looks like on that inside joint. That's what it looks like on that inside joint. So I'm just going to go around to the rest of the fountain and go ahead and seal up all these expansion joints. This was just the first one, and then I have to do the one right there, then there's another one right there, and there's some further down the line. That's it for now. Thank you. Alright, here is the final top coat of the Sikaflex 1A on top for the expansion joint right there. So we put the blue tape on and then tried to smooth that out. I could not get that as smooth as I wanted it to get. Now I'm going to show you me doing another joint, and then they're all pretty much the same way. We'll let that cure out and then we'll remove the blue tape. Alright, that top joint right there is about the best I'm going to get that. Now I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit and then get the bigger putty knife down there with a nice big glob right there on the top. Okay, put this down. Then with my putty knife kind of clean on one end, I'm going to try to start this and then just run it the whole way down. And I'm going to try to do it in one smooth motion. That'll produce the best looking end result possible. It's not, I'm running a little bit dry. I'm going to have to put some more caulking down here. My tube broke on me, but I want to try to use up as much of this product as possible. So I'm just going to hold that in, try to prevent it from coming out. Try to get it out the gun. And even this part that leaks out, I'll still end up using that. To relieve the pressure, just turn your cam lock upside down once. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of scoop this out like this so I can use up every little bit that comes out of this gun. Okay, now I'll start at the bottom, try to work my way up. Now I'll come all the way up to the very top, and then I'll slowly try to turn that out. And I'll try to clean that up a little bit. Down here at the bottom, I want to try to make sure that's leak tight, so I'm going to push a little bit in there. Because I want that joint to be good. Alright, that's not bad. I'm going to let that go. Just like that. And then here, I'll use a smaller knife. Clean up the end a little bit. I'm just going to try to work that so that it's somewhat smooth. You're better off working with as little small pieces as possible, because once you start doing it like this, that doesn't come out very good. You can see how that little section that I did doesn't look as smooth as this. And I can't really use my fingers, it'll just pull out. It's such a thick product. Okay, now I'm going to remove the tape from here. I'll start at the bottom. now I'm just going to try to smooth this out slightly with my hand, with my finger. I'm just going to try to run that down slightly. I actually think I'm making it worse. I think I'm just going to leave it. Alright, so that's that side. The top came out pretty good. And I'll just check the back side now. So here's a picture of a joint that is, where the tape's been pulled off, and this is going to be the final product. Now it's just we're waiting for it to cure. You can see that came out pretty smooth. We tried to get the smoothest finish possible on that. Around the corners it messes up a little bit there, but on the straightaways it comes out pretty clear, pretty smooth. So we'll just let that cure out, and then that'll be what pretty much all the joints are going to look like. Alright, welcome back to our fountain project. The last time we left this project, we had done complete waterproofing on the project, and what we wanted to do was we wanted to put down some DRYLOK paint in an effort to give the inside all one color, uniform color, and make it all look pretty. The problem is that the time of the year was fall, and the way that the leaves were falling, it was if we had painted the fountain at that time, the leaves would have fallen onto our wet paint and it would have just turned out to be disaster. So rather than get involved with that, since we were fully waterproofed, we put the fountain back online for a few months to get through the season, get through the winter, and now we're into spring. Today is some type of a Indian summer going on here. We've got 90+ degrees right now, so it's super hot. So what we're going to do is we're doing our prep work in an effort to give this paint a coat of paint. We've already done a portion of this. It requires 2 coats of paint, and as with any painting project, the preparation is 70% of the entire painting project. So we'll show you the paint that we're using and then some of the prep tools here. Alright, here's the paint that we are using. It is standard DRYLOK purchased at the Home Depot, and it's also a masonry waterproofer, so if any of our first waterproofing techniques didn't work, this would also keep it nice and waterproofed. So that's the paint that we're using. The color that we've chosen is called sand color, which kind of mimics what the other color was previous. Now, if you can see right here, you can see where the old, where the water level is, hang on, I'm having a hard time picking that up with the camera. Let me try to come back here. You can see where where I've painted to, and then where the water line is. So that's pretty much one coat of paint right there. We do have some 2 coats of paints down at the other end over there, and I'll show you that. But basically, the troughs, when we get done, are going to look like this right here. All one uniform color, and just consistent all the way through. And I'll show you what the prep is to begin. Alright, it's a little shady right here, but here's an area untouched. You can clearly see the water line right there from the previous paint job 3 or 4 years ago. And then you can see, if you can, it's kind of shaded here, there's a lot of dirt down here in the basin. So basically, we've already drained it, so it's completely empty. But in order to paint, we've got to completely wash these basins down. We've already done this with the other troughs, but this is one that we haven't started yet. And the reason why is because we wanted to start at the highest point in the system, which is all the way over here at the bowl. At the highest point in the system, you can see how it cascades down these individual troughs down over here to this, what we call the bubblers section. These here are bubblers. So what we need to do is wash it with a garden hose. Then we need to vacuum out. So we have our wet dry vacuum, or shop vac as we all call it, right there. So we can suck down, get everything nice and clean. After we do that, we take a leaf blower, which I have right over here, in an effort to blow out and dry out anything that's remaining. So these are the tools needed in order to get yourself nice and prepped. You need a garden hose with water, a shop vac right there, and also a leaf blower to get everything super clean, super dry. Then you can just go down and paint, and as normal, as you would anything else. And then there's your final product. So we'll try to, we're going to hang it up for now. We're going to get back to some more prepping and painting, and then we'll show you the final product when we're completed. Okay, here's the painting from today. We got 2 coats on the very bottom. That took a long time to prep, and we got almost 2 coats all the way up on the walls. Show you a little bit of detail here. Now you can see some bleed through because that's only 1 coat right there. And let's see, if you look at the wall, you can see right there, right at that transition right there, where 2 coats is to 1 coat. And we're done for today, so we'll have to get that tomorrow. Now the benefit of getting 2 coats on the floor first is that the floor takes an enormous amount of time to prep. Okay, so what happens is when you do the floor, because all the water settles onto the floor, you have to clean it really well. So when I was using the blower, I had to blow, after we had washed it down with the hose, sucked everything down with the vacuum, with the wet dry vacuum. At that point in time, I had to use the blower, the leaf blower, in order to try to get everything dry. And I must have been doing the leaf blower just in this one section for like 45 minutes because it just took that long to evaporate out the water, even though it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. So anyways, that's why we won't need, it was important to get 2 coats down on the floor. Tomorrow when we come back, the sidewalls don't really require a lot of prep. Just put your paint in your roller tray and go. Now one other thing about this paint, the DRYLOK paint, it is very thick. We are watering it down and mixing it before putting it in the tray, because it is just coming out of the cans too thick. It's too thick to work with, so we're watering it down to have it roll a little bit easier. But the results are pretty good, and I think this project will pan out. So pretty much the rest of it is just painting. So what I'll do is I'll leave you on hold, let us finish our painting project, and then once we get this fountain up and running, I'll show you the final results. All right, thank you for now. All right, so here is after 2 coats of paint. So everything looks really good. I'll show you a little bit of detail here on some of the joints. Alright, there. And how we went around. The floor is just the leaves came down there from blowing around. So we're just going to let this set up. I'll show you over here on the transitions. Alright, so here's this transition here and the paint that we did going through there. You can see how we put the DRYLOK material kind of on this side of the fountain. That's how we did that. The 2 coats looks really well. You don't see any bleed through at all. Everything looks good. Here's the other transition over there. All this fountain is just getting ready for water. We're just going to let this sit one more day, and then we'll go ahead and put some water in it probably tomorrow, and then we'll show you the final product with the fountain filled with water. Okay, welcome back to the final episode of our fountain project. We have filled the fountain today, and the fountain is back up and running, and now we can show you the final product. So here you go. So as you can see, we have put the water back in. All of the troughs are filled with water. There's no water leaks on the side, which is very good, and it's a very pretty fountain. Alright, this section here, the section is we call the bubbler section. You can see our paint lines that we did right there on the side of the wall, and that all looks really well. And alright, so anyways, that's the bubbler section right there. That's looking really good. And all of the transitions came out really well. There's a close-up of that one there, but they all pretty much kind of look the same. And this is just the fountain going a little bit further up the line. But basically, we're very happy with this project and the completion of it. Okay, so basically that's the final episode of our fountain project, and I want to thank you for watching. Please click on the like button below to give me some extra likes, and of course visit my YouTube channel, Ken Training, for more exciting videos like this and also of other subjects as well. And thank you for watching.